Okay, so let's take a look at this Skylanders Trap Team footage, and we can see Snapshot here on the portal entering the game, and I think he's going to take on the Chompy Mage. So let's see what powers he has at his disposal. Catch him in our Traptanium trap, which, as you may have seen, plugs into the portal. You need a life trap out of the game and into your trap.
Chompy Mage trap.
And now we've summoned Chill Bill. And now we see Boingo Nuts. And those, if you plant them in the ground at the various spots, you can create a vine bridge. Hey everyone, Wes here from Family Gamer TV, and we've got some Skylanders Trap Team news for you and a bit of gameplay footage too. First up, as you may have seen in our previous coverage, we spotted an Undead Trap Master, what we think is a Trap Master, in the original Skylanders Trap Team trailer. Well, there has been a bit of a leak with a closer image of this Skylander. And we're going to look through some of that footage today. Now, our first ever encounter with this Trap Master, and I'm going to call it a Trap Master because we're pretty sure on that, was in the Mega Bloks promo materials that came out around New York Toy Fair 2014. Now, in this image, you can see a number of Skylanders, including Wildfire, and in the bottom left-hand corner here, our Undead Trap Master. Now, if we take a closer look at him, and sorry for the blurriness of this picture, the original wasn't particularly high res, but if we take a closer look, here you can see what looks like kind of Archean armor, a big crystal sword. I think the additional weapon he carries in his left hand is probably something just related to the Mega Bloks stuff, and in the game he's just going to have this big, huge diamond looking, well, it won't be diamond, it'll be Traptanium sword. So that's looking pretty cool. Maybe has a bit of an Egyptian vibe going on as well. Maybe I see some bandages there, perhaps. So that would kind of fit with the undead vibe. Anyway, as I mentioned, we also saw him briefly and quite blurrily in a number of cases in the trailer. So let's have a look at that. So, first shot of the portal that we get with the new Skylanders surrounding it, some returning Skylanders there. But in this far right corner, just below what appears to be Wildfire, is this Undead Skylander's huge crystal sword. And a little hint of his armor there too. And we can look at that in highlighted close-up. We got the highlight on there if you didn't spot him. And then in close-up, we can see a bit more detail. And that is a pretty impressive looking Traptanium weapon, if I do say so myself. Perhaps reminiscent in style of play to Ignitor and his giant sword. Okay, so further on in the trailer, we see one of the kids from the trailer putting Snapshot on the portal. And you can see here, just off-center on the left-hand side, we have our Undead Skylander again. And we'll highlight him in case you can't spot him. And zoom in a little bit. Now, this is going to be quite blurry. It's from the reverse angle. But again, you can see the new Trap Master holding his giant Traptanium sword in one hand. And finally, we get another shot of that similar kind of angle. But you can kind of see more detail on the back of his head, where he has this kind of what I would describe as an Egyptian headdress with the black and gold stripes. So again, highlighted and zoomed in, you can see a bit more of those black and gold stripes if you couldn't see them previously. Obscured a bit by Wildfire there and his giant red Traptanium shield. Now, I think one of the things that interests me most about this character is that he's going to lend himself rather well, I think, to being legendary. I could definitely see him as being one of Toys R Us exclusive figures, because if he's black and gold, it'd be quite easy to do a repaint to have him as blue and gold, although maybe that's not varied enough, maybe that's not distinct enough to make him want to be one of the legendary characters. Now, we mentioned there'd been a leak and a better image of the character. Well, this has come from Barnes & Noble originally, I think, and then Amazon. And the leak is the picture of the Skylanders Universe A to Z Skylands box set, which features stickers, an A to Z book, Pick Your Portal book, and in the corner here on one of the sticker sheets you can see our Undead Trap Master. And I've tried to rotate that a bit and zoom in, so let's have a look at the close-up. Okay, so here you can see this Archean style armour, black and gold, big crystal weapon, and you can see that Egyptian headdress, or the hint of it there, coming and flowing off the top of his helmet. Now, perhaps most interestingly about this character is it resembles one that we've seen in some footage before, one that lives at Toys for Bob's offices. Now, Skylander boy and girl were there for Giants, and they took some footage which covered a few of the prototypes that were seen in glass cases at the Toys for Bob offices. And if we look back at that footage, they caught sight of a giant that had been rejected. So this was one of the original prototypes for a giant that didn't make the cut, and you can see there's a variation on Tree Rex in the background there, looks a little bit different. But this one, if you look at it closely, if you were to repaint that in black and gold, change that kind of tuft off his helmet a little bit, it'd look quite like our new Undead Trap Master, wouldn't it? And we can look at it from a different angle too, and again, here you can see a lot of aspects of this armour are exactly the same as this new Undead Trap Master. So it seems like Toys for Bob have gone back and looked at their original prototypes and found one that's a perfect fit to be a Trap Master rather than, say, a giant. And I think that's a cool way of working and finding new ideas. So it'll be interesting to see what the final figure looks like and how it compares to this one. But I think it's fair to say this is the original inspiration. And while I was searching for all this footage and all these pictures, I came across someone's own artwork of this figure, and we can look at that. So here we go, and this is taken from DeviantArt. I think the username was Black Rhino Ranger, so if you search for them on DeviantArt, you'll be able to find their picture of this character. But I wonder what his name's going to be. Who might this Undead Trap Master be? Well, you leave us a comment and let us know what your thoughts might be on this. Is he a mummy? Does that fit well with the undead angle? What could his name be? Okay, so next up we have news about the Skylanders Frito Lay competition that's occurring in the US at the moment. If you're not familiar with this was a competition to name and choose the next Skylander to enter the Skylanders Trap Team roster. This won't be a Trap Master, I don't think, just a regular core Skylander, but a brand new one. And the fact that they're giving us a choice was pretty cool. So, we had a choice of 3 Skylanders to pick from, or rather, if you're in the US, you had a choice. And one of which resembled a green, maybe a life Skylander, maybe a kind of dragonfly. And then we had one that looked very much an undead Skylander, kind of vampiric, with bats all about her, a little bit similar to Hex. And then we had our quite obvious water Skylander, a water symbol there on his head, looks like a dolphin, has parts of a boat as his weapons. And as you can see, the names have now been chosen. So the dragonfly has the name High Five. The female undead Skylander is called Bat Spin, and our dolphin Skylander is called Flip Wreck. And now the choice is which one is going to be picked for the game. So if you're living in the US, you can vote now, and to help you, you can also look at the backstory which has been submitted for each character. At least I think they've been created by the kids that have submitted these names. Let's have a look at those. So first up is my personal favourite, High Five. Now High Five is the 5th son of the royal high-flying dragonflies. He can fly higher and faster than any other dragonfly and is famous for his great speed. So here we get a hint of the kind of powers we might see from High Five, him being a really quick Skylander, maybe kind of as speedy as someone like Flameslinger can be. And what other powers will we get? Well, obviously he can fly, so very familiar to those who've played as likes of Spyro and Cinder, and maybe we'll get some powers from his wings or from his claws. It looks like he could really do some good attacks with those claws. They're nice and pointy. And then Bat Spin. So if we look at the story for Bat Spin, she's a witch from the underworld. And one day the trolls came to the underworld, so Bat Spin had to save her people. And she did. And afterwards, Eon asked her to join the Skylanders. So she was just a regular person, minding her own business in the underworld. And then when the trolls came, she stood up to them, she led her people against them, and they were victorious. And after that, Eon just thought, well, we've got to sign her up to the Skylanders because she has got what it takes. But what about Flipwreck though? Now, Flipwreck is a half dolphin and half shipwreck. What a perfect way to combine a water Skylander, a creature from the oceans, with a boat. These are bits of the boat that he uses to fight with. That's pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get more depth to that story if he's your chosen hero. So go and vote now. If you search on Google for Frito Lay Skylanders, you should be able to get to the site. But we have more Skylanders for you today. Yep, we're going to take a look at some more footage of Trap Team in action, and we'll talk you through some of the things we've spotted in this footage. Okay, so let's take a look at this Skylanders Trap Team footage, and we can see Snapshot here on the portal entering the game, and I think he's going to take on the Chompy Mage. So let's see what powers he has at his disposal. Obviously he has his Traptanium bow with a blade that can be used as an arrow or as kind of like a sword as well. Now when he fires his arrows, I think what you see is like a big central arrow and then little ones that come off the side. I think he also has a big jumping smash attack, you can see there, and that seems to spawn crystals that spike up from the ground. Quite a powerful attack. Then he has this kind of splash crystal attack, and it seems to go round in a circle. Don't know whether you control the direction of that, but it is there to devastate the Chompies. Chompy Mage, as you can see, has a few different kind of modes to him. So here he turns into a slightly bigger Chompy and can jump and drop and cause these fireballs, almost these rings of fire, to come out from him, which Snapshot here has to jump over to avoid taking damage, while still trying to hit the Chompy Mage, obviously, with his Traptanium weapons. So what will the Chompy Mage do next?
Instead, I have just been incrementally increasing the difficulty.
He's building up to something, but what's it gonna be? Oh, wow. So he's morphed into like a big kind of lava Chompy. And that throws out kind of, I don't know, what they look like, eggs. He does like a big jump at the start and they kind of spawn some kind of egg things. And then obviously he does the rings of fire again.
Chompy Mage defeated.
But Snapshot is victorious. And we are now going to trap the Chompy Mage. Catch him in our Traptanium trap, which, as you may have seen, plugs into the portal. You need a life trap for this one. And once you've got one of those in the portal, you can suck up the Chompy Mage out of the game and into your trap.
Chompy Mage trapped.
And then he might complain a bit, and you'll hear his voice coming out of that trap. Then you can switch to him and play as him. So, what kind of powers does the Chompy Mage have at his disposal? Well, in this footage we're only going to see a few bits of them, but here he's up against some of the trolls. And we have those humorous introductive videos to the enemies again. The Chompy Mage summons some Chompies from what look like little Chompy eggs, waving his staff around to do that. He can also attack enemies with his staff directly, and he can turn into a big Chompy himself and then rampage around and create those rings of fire that we saw him using against Snapshot in that kind of boss battle. Finishing off the trolls there with his staff. Just quite a bit of damage. Nice 120 damage there from the staff. So we've moved on, and now we've summoned Chill Bill, and now we see these nuts. I think they're Boingo nuts, and those, if you plant them in the ground at the various spots, you can create a vine bridge. Chill Bill, who can use his chilling weapon and his chilling jetpack to freeze enemies, and then you can hot switch out and destroy them with a massive smash from Snapshot's Traptanium weapon. Interesting to see there, that's another move obviously in Snapshot's arsenal to go along with the ones we spoke about earlier. And he switches back to Chill Bill on the old bounce pads. Oh, and now we've got the awesome looking Shrednaught, piloted by two trolls. And I think they're going to come and try and take down Snapshot.
Shrednaught.
Oh, where's Chill Bill? So Chill Bill probably can't freeze something this big, I'm guessing. So he switches out to Snapshot, who avoids that Shrednaught Ripsaw blade, and then charges up and attack. So it looks like the big overarm smash has to be charged up to get the full effect, but it doesn't take long for the Traptanium weapons of Snapshot to work their magic on the Shrednaught.
Now what do we do, Troll 2?
Now,
Cool,
so we're going to capture
like me.
the Shrednaught, put that into one of our Traptanium traps. But what element is it? So the Shrednaught, oh, we don't get to see it. Well, it looked kind of fiery, kind of tech maybe, one of the two I would guess, although it does have a big undead symbol on the back of it, so maybe it's undead. Who knows? Well, the Shrednaught makes light work of these trolls with its spinning blade. And then we've got another enemy there. I'm not sure we've seen that enemy before in the Skylanders franchise. Kind of turtle-based enemy. Almost like a turtle crossed with a rhino. It's got like a metal horn. And the Shrednaught drops out and Snapshot joins the party and takes him out. So there we go. That's all of the extra footage we have for you. Hope you enjoyed that. So that's everything we've got on Skylanders Trap Team at the moment. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think about the competition that's going on Frito Lay, what you think about this new Undead Sky Lander, what's his name going to be? Give us your ideas, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our Skylanders footage, and of course all the other great content we've got here on the channel.